Now, one of the concerns that I've had, because I've been doing this, gosh, I don't know, since 2004. Oklahoma law is a little bit tricky. And I've been on a couple of these Zoom calls, and everybody said, "Yeah, we need to get people registered to vote. We need to do it. We need to do it." I guess that's kind of like singing to the choir. But I did want to walk through some of the issues that we've seen in the past that could be possible trouble spots. Um, and it's really important to kind of identify those early on, just so that everybody's kind of aware of what the situation is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some screen sharing, and I'll just tell you a little bit about some of my experiences and what's been going on. Mr. Carter said his microphone is not working, and he can hear us, and he's with the Wichita Affiliated Tribes down in Anadarko, so welcome. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. Of course, does everybody have access to voter registration forms? Do you all have any forms that you have available to you? Okay, if you do not,
Really?
I can mail some out, but really the better thing to do is to go to your local election board and get some forms, or you can go to almost any tag agency and get some forms. I think the law does allow to copy a form or to download it, but why do that when you can go down to the election board and get some forms? If you're really in a fix and you can't get any, or you need some from me, let me know. I can mail some out, but it's going to be postage out of my pocket. I've actually got about 300 forms from Oklahoma County Election Board they gave to me. So this is the form. If you've not seen it, I'm sure you probably have, but they're very specific instructions. So let's take a look at it. Where we have problems is, I would say the biggest problem we have is when you give this form to somebody and have them fill it out and sign it and take it back, and you don't go over it. You don't look at it, because people forget. And I just did a voter registration at the Oklahoma City Powwow Club. They had a big fry bread sale, Indian taco sale. They don't complete all the forms. Can you see the cursor when I'm moving around? I guess you can. Okay, so make sure they have to be a citizen, obviously. They have to be 18 years of age or older. Make sure they complete those, because I had about 6 forms come back and they didn't check those boxes. Okay, name. Last name, first name, middle name. It's very, very important that people write legibly. That's the other biggest problem we've had, is they scrawl or they don't write clearly, and then it may not get counted, or may not get entered into the system properly. Okay, birth date, that's obvious. Oklahoma driver's license, if they have that, definitely write that in there. Also, the last 4 digits of their social. If they don't have a driver's license, then they need to complete that. So they can check this box. They don't have a driver's license or social security number. So again, you might not see that little box there. So you need to make sure and fill that out, that they don't have a driver's license. So they're going to put in the last 4 of their social. Okay, so then they put political party, and I again want to reiterate, we are, this whole effort is nonpartisan. And now some of you may belong to parties and advocate for one party or another, or one candidate or another. We can't do that. We can't have buttons. We can't have T-shirts or stickers or suggest anything as to a particular candidate, a particular issue, a particular party. So just as a reminder about that, again, it's everything is nonpartisan. They don't have to select a party. They can put no party. They can put other party. Okay. Can they put in a P.O. box for their address? The answer is no. They cannot put in a P.O. box. So if somebody writes a P.O. box down, they have to have a street address, and it can be 1 mile 1 mile east of Carnegie on Highway 9, near the intersection of whatever road it is. That has to be down there. Don't let them put a PO box. Mailing address. If the mailing address is different from the street address, then they can put that down there. They also have to put their county of residence. Section 6, if they were previously registered in another county or state or under a different name, that needs to be on there. What their address was in their previous county or state. You can write your name in here. I generally don't, but if you want to, put it in there, that's really up to you and up to this individual. Then they absolutely must sign. If it's not signed, it's not going to be processed. They're a citizen, they're 18 years of age or older, they're not convicted of a felony. Okay, so this is a question we get all the time. I'm a felon, I can't vote. Is that true? That's not true. Okay, so this is the language that people need to know about that. Not convicted of a felony or having been convicted, I'm now eligible to register because they fully served their sentence, including any term of incarceration, parole, or supervision. Okay, so that's the thing about being a felon. Can a felon vote? They can vote if they are fully served their sentence. If they're still on probation, if they're still on supervision, if they're on a deferred sentence or something, I would say the answer is no. They can't be under judgment as an incapacitated person. And then they have to, this is under penalty of perjury. They say that the form is correct. And all of those things are appropriate answers. Okay, so they filled out the form. Any questions about the form? So again, pretty straightforward, but I've had many forms turned in. Usually what I do when I set up, I'll have multiple clipboards and I'll hand them out and I'll get them back and I'll make sure that they go over it before they leave, because if they leave out a box, if they didn't check something, or there's empty information, you cannot fill it in. So clearly you cannot do that. Now, we've got some weird deadlines in Oklahoma. Now, when these are turned in, what I would do, and this is what I do all the time, I make a photocopy. I make a photocopy of this registration form. There's nothing to prohibit you from doing that. Why do I make a photocopy? Because I want to make sure that that information gets in there. So I've got a stack over here. I'm going to go through. I turned them into Oklahoma County Election Board last week. I'm going to go on there and make sure that these people got registered, because I heard several stories my last time I was set up of people said, well, I registered this place and I never got anything. I never got a card. I never heard anything. I thought I was registered and I wasn't. So that's why I'll go back and double check, and that way I have a record of it at least, because of course you want somebody to be able to vote. And I don't know what group was doing this, and they didn't know either, but they said they signed up and they never turned it in. So that's scary. Generally, I don't like to mail these in either. Not that I don't trust the mail, but I don't trust the mail. It would be better to turn them into the county election board. And I think you can probably turn them in any county. So let's say you're down in Anadarko with the Wichitas and you've got somebody, who's from Chickasha. And of course, Anadarko is Caddo County. Chickasha is Canadian County, Grady County. I think you can turn them in and please jump in and correct me if I'm saying something incorrect. But I think you could turn in a Grady County form at the Caddo County Election Board office. I think they will forward them on. The other thing that you can do is you can turn them into a tag agency. Now, a tag agency, like I've got one in this building right next door to me, they mail them in once a week. So you know, the tag agency can turn them in. And the other interesting thing about, hang on a second. About some of these forms is the tag agency will have a little stamp here. So for example, you can see right there, that's the tag agency's stamp. So they know where it came from. And they will send it in, they'll mail it in for you so that you're not, if you can't get to the election board or you're, you know, there's an issue about that. Okay, so let's look at some of these guides. For example, absentee voting. Okay, so absentee voting.
Arvo?
Yeah.
I know it says judicially determined to be incapacitated, but what if you're in this situation in which, let's say it's a grandmother and a grandchild, and the grandchild has to help the grandmother fill out the form? Would you have capacity concerns at that point, or can she be assisted filling out the?
Oh yeah, I know. Can be assisted filling out the form. That's not a problem. It's just that if you are legally incapacitated, in other words, you're not you have a court determination that you know you're under conservatorship or guardianship, and you're not capable of you know taking care of your own affairs. I think that would be a problem.
Okay.
But anything short of that, I think you're all right. Okay, so another little thing here, absentee ballots. Before I get to that, I'm gonna zip through this. I sent some links out, which actually are pretty helpful. Again, I've been on several of these voter registration trainings, and people just haven't really gone through the specifics, and that's why I think it's important for us to do that. So this is one from Election Protection. Election Protection is, again, the group of lawyers. I think they're out of maybe North Carolina, someplace, I can't remember. I'm trying to move this where I can see it. Okay. So just general information about Oklahoma voting. Okay, so there's different ways you can vote: overseas, in person, provisional, military, absentee, and polling place voting. So registration absolute deadline in Oklahoma is October 11th. Okay, so voter registration days, you know, September 17th. October 11th is the cutoff, and it's not postmarked by them. It has to be received. Okay, not postmarked. Postmarks don't count for much of anything in Oklahoma. It actually physically has to be at the election board. Interestingly, if I were to vote absentee, and I dropped it in the mail, you know, on, of course, November 5th is election day. If I dropped it in the mail on November 5th, postmark, would that count? The answer is no. It has to be received. It has to be received by the election board. So a request for a ballot, and I think that's for an absentee ballot. I may be wrong here. I'm going to double check. Has to be received by Monday, October 21st. Okay, so you can't go in, you know, 3 days before election day and request an absentee ballot. In Oklahoma, we have what's called in-person absentee ballot voting. So you can vote absentee, and you have to turn it in. Or actually, in-person absentee ballot is absentee voting is when you go in. It's kind of like early voting, where you physically can go in and vote. They call it in-person absentee ballot voting, which is almost a misnomer because it's in-person absentee. Well, yeah, I'm going in to vote. And a return for the ballot has to be submitted by Tuesday, October 5th at 7 p.m. Now, I think if you bring in an absentee ballot, I think you have to have it there before the 5th. But let's figure that out. Okay, when can you vote? Election day. Okay, early voting, which is this in-person absentee, open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Thursday and Friday before the elections, and then 8 to 2 on the Saturday. Okay, so now this was another little tricky thing because, of course, election day's on a Tuesday. Can you vote on Monday? Answer is no. You cannot vote on Monday. The absentee or in-person absentee voting cuts off on the Saturday before. So you can see that right there. Where do you vote? Okay, you can go to, on election day, can you go to the election board? Answer is no. Okay, unless it's a polling place. You have to go to your assigned precinct. Where do you go to vote in-person absentee? That is only in the county where you're registered. So you actually have to go to the election board. So I live in Norman. I would have to go to the election board in Cleveland County. Okay, registering to vote. Again, voter registration deadline is October 11th. And then we went through all of these requirements here. And in Oklahoma, can you register online? The answer is no. Okay, so you go to this you go to register in Oklahoma online, and you can't do it. You have to print out this paper form, sign it, and bring it in. So unlike other states, you can't do it technically online. Okay. If you want to vote by absentee, you can do it these ways: in person, by mail, by fax, by email. I didn't know that. Okay, that's just a request. So if you say, hey, I want to request an absentee ballot, that's how you do it. You have to do that ahead of time. Then you return it in person or by mail. Okay, so the ballot request, like we said, has to be October 21st. The ballot return Tuesday, November 5th. Now, I want to double check that because I thought I had to be there the day before. No, see, here it is. Absentee ballots can be hand delivered to the local election board no later than the regular business day, the day before election day. Okay. So that's almost deceptive. It has to be submitted, but absentee ballots have to be there on the 4th, not the 5th. Now, another issue about absentee ballots. Okay, let's say, Farmer, we had that situation where somebody was helping their grandmother. Can somebody else bring in another person's absentee ballot? Can they bring it into the election board? The answer is no. You cannot do that. It's called ballot harvesting. You cannot do that. That's a felony crime. So you'll have to bring grandma down to the election board and have her turn it in herself. You cannot have anybody bring someone else's ballot in. Okay, identification requirements in Oklahoma. Now, when you turn in this form, they should be getting a little paper voter registration card. Can you use that to vote? I think technically the answer is yes. Could they ask you to see a photo ID? They probably could do that. Now, I voted in the past just with the paper card, and I was kind of testing what they would do. And you could vote with the paper card if you have it there. Okay, so voting in person, it's what the law says. In Oklahoma, you need to show a valid ID. And so you can see these first three are going to be photo IDs, right? Tribal IDs normally have photos, federal ID, Oklahoma ID. Okay, now, can you use a voter registration card? Yes. So you don't have to have a photo ID or a driver's license to vote if you've registered, okay? IDs must contain the name of the person, photo, expiration date is after the date of the election. Now, this has been an issue with tribal IDs because a lot of times tribal IDs will not have an expiration date. And we brought this up in the past to different tribes, and a lot of the tribes now, well, mine says that it says indefinite. So there is not an expiration date. Should indefinite count? that should count. And you can see here where it says that, unless the ballot identification is valid indefinitely. Let's see. And again, if they for some reason they won't accept it, they always remind people that they should cast a provisional ballot. If you've moved within the state, if you move in the same county, because people ask this question a lot. I moved from one apartment to another apartment, but I'm in the same city. You can go to the online voter registration tool, and we're going to do that in a minute because it is tricky. Okay, there's an issue with this voter registration tool, which is a good thing because you can do it online, but it's a bad thing because I was trying to request my absentee ballot, and what I was told is I couldn't do it because where I originally registered, 35 years ago, 40 years ago, is not the same address on my driver's license. Well, yeah, I've moved since then. But so the online system will not allow me to request an absentee ballot. If you move between counties, you got to start all over again. You got to go and re-register, fill out the form from beginning. I'm not going to go into military because that gets really complicated. And again, this felony conviction, if they fully serve their sentence, it's all done. They're not on deferred. They're not on probation. They're not on supervised release. They're good. If it's a misdemeanor conviction, it doesn't. That doesn't count. So that's not an issue. Okay, let's see here. All right. Any questions about any of that? Let's see. Sorry, I've got like 3 screens going here. I'm trying to. Okay, so there's a couple of services out there, and what I always recommend is TurboVote. If you've had any experience with TurboVote, TurboVote's a great resource. And I always suggest that people go and check on their registration through TurboVote. So, and when you do that, let's just do it real quick here so you can see kind of how it works. TurboVote.org. With the Wichita tribes, have you all had any registration efforts? Oh, I guess you can't talk because your mic doesn't work, but maybe you might just say yes or no. No, okay. Well, maybe we can visit some more about this. And I'd like to get from each one of you before we end today, kind of where you think you might be able to set up and what you're planning to do, because we want to make a list and send it out, say people can vote at these specific locations. Okay, so I'm sharing this right now. This is TurboVote, and I'll pull myself up just to check my registration. So I'm going to put in my address. Okay, it pops up right there, Norman. Okay, and tells us who's going to be on the ballot, what's going on. You can click on this little deal. It'll remind me. It'll send you a reminder. Hey, early voting's today, or your absentee ballot deadline's today, and it'll send you a text message, which is really helpful. Okay.
Hey,
so,
Arvo, you're
yeah.
not sharing your screen.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. See what happened. Oh, there we go. Is that it? Okay. Thank you. Again, I've got too many screens going here. So, oops, I don't know if I'm sharing the right one. Let me do it again. I've got about 10 screens going here. Yep, that was the wrong one. Okay, let's try this one. Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. TurboVote. So this tells us 60 days election day. You can, like I was saying, the little reminder, you can click on that, and actually they'll mail you stuff, or they'll send you a text message. So I can check on my registration, which I was just starting to do there. Okay, so there's my home address. Okay, so you can check on people's registration. So if you're setting up a table and people say, "Oh, I'm registered," I would go into this TurboVote and double check to make sure that they are, because I had probably at least 15 people tell me, "Yeah, I'm registered," and I said, "Well, let's check it," and turns out they weren't. Okay, so let me see. Check my registration. Okay. So you do have to get their name. I'll divulge how old I am here, so. So you can do this on your phone. So okay, so this tells me, yes, I'm registered to vote. So that's a really important thing when you do this registration. Double check and see if somebody's registered to vote. Where am I registered to vote at? I'm registered here. Okay, so if I'm getting ready to move, I can re-register. Let's see. Okay, so this shows when they last updated this information. So you can see this is kind of old. All right. So let's say I want to request an absentee ballot. Okay, I'm gonna jump out of this system. There's what's called the Oklahoma Voter Portal. I can't even say it. This is another place that you can go and have people check to see if they're registered. So let me see. Let me pull this up. Okay, Theron is having to jump off. He said, here's some events Rock the Native Vote is hosting. Well, they've got a couple things coming up. So let's see here. Let me see if I can share this again. Okay. So this is another way to go in. If you don't want to do the TurboVote, you can go in here. Okay, they can, you can see here, this will take you to your polling place. It'll show you exactly where your polling place will be. Shows you where the election board is. Tells you your voting precinct. So that's really helpful. Now, for example, I wanted to request an absentee ballot. Now this was not working last time I tried it, so I did submit a new form. So maybe they're doing that. Oh, okay. So there's a way you can check on your and request an absentee ballot. And there's different reasons for it. Now, do you have to have a specific reason? No, you don't. So you don't have to say, hey, I'm incapacitated or something. Okay, so let's see if this works. Last time I tried it, it kicked it out, said no. not a robot, although I feel like one sometimes. Okay, well, it worked that time. Good deal. I'm going to print that out. So you can request an absentee ballot online. Now, the problem that they told me was my address didn't match my driver's license that they had put in. So I updated that. So maybe it's working now. Okay. Let's see here. The other, trying to see the other. Okay, I'm going to try to share this screen. This is a helpful little tool. Oops, that's the wrong one. Which is this NCAI voter action kit. So if you have any other, like, folks, I don't know if you're gonna have some students down there, Holly, that you might want to, get up to speed. This is kind of like organizing what to do, create a timeline, how many voters you're going to try to register, recruiting volunteers, host a registration drive, make a voting plan. And this is a little, cheat sheet if you got folks that are, not, a little bit nervous about it, how can I help you vote or complete your registration today in this little flow chart? They're registered. Okay, have you recently moved? No, they haven't moved. Or here's the form, make sure and fill it out correctly. I always tell them about TurboVote, to go and check it, to make sure that you're in the system. And if they don't want to register, then you can find answers. I don't have time. I'm not interested. Another excuse people have is like, oh no, I don't want to get called to jury duty. Again, jury duty doesn't really, I don't believe in Oklahoma, relies upon voter registration. It relies upon driver's license. So if they register to vote, they're not going to get, if they're driving, they're more likely to get called to jury duty. Who should I vote for? Of course, that's a no-no. Don't answer that question. And just say we're nonpartisan. We're not advocating for any party or candidate. So then there are answers. Okay, answers to these questions. Let's see. So that's a good little resource that was included in that link I sent out. There's a lot of other online resources that are available out there. But again, the main thing is just getting those forms out and filling them out correctly and turning them in a timely fashion. And I think a lot of people, it's an effort. Let me just say that. It's an effort to get people to want to register to vote. Usually, now the ones just recently I had, there were younger people, but they had their uncle, they had their mom, they had their older cousin there with them, and they were the ones that were kind of pushing them forward to get them to register to vote. A lot of these races are very close. For example, my Senate race, it wasn't this last time, but the time before that, it was decided. Norman's pretty large, population. I don't know, there's 100-something thousand. I don't know how many are actually registered voters. I'd say at least 50, if not more than that. But my state senator won by like 60 votes. It was not very many at all. So a lot of these questions are going to be very close. Okay, I've talked a lot. Any questions? Any issues you think that might be out there? And I'll just run down the list. Holly, what do you all think you're going to do at USAO?
Yeah, so I'm starting with the 17th, and obviously we're going to try and put a couple of other pushes through leading up into the deadline. But it's really just a matter of getting volunteers together and picking a spot and, making an announcement. So my plan is next week to talk with our marketing and communications director to see if we can get a press release out. And I have 3 student groups that have expressed interest. So yeah, that's kind of what my plan is.
Do you think you're going to be right there on campus? I would assume.
That's what I think will be ideal, because we can get a lot of students registered. I think there'll probably be a lot of young people that have never thought about it before. But also I want to make it open to the community. So if we, if there's an idea for like going out and spreading the word, I can check into that also. Actually, there's a couple of Chickasha specific radio stations and newspapers that are connected through USAO. So I might be able to reach out through them too, and maybe just call people in,
We're going to do a press release, and I think I might have shared this with you when we first met. In 2016, I was set up over at the Oklahoma City Indian Clinic. And of course, that's kind of a good audience because everyone's sitting around waiting for their doctor's appointment anyway. And they don't have anything else to do. And I got approval from the director of the clinic, Robin Sunday, and she said, "Oh yeah, go ahead and set up." So we set up. We had some bumper stickers and stuff we were handing out. And I think we had some T-shirts. Now the other thing we cannot do, this is part of the rule. We are affiliated both with Election Protection and with the National Voter Registration Day. You cannot give any kind of incentive for somebody to register. In other words, you cannot say, okay, we got a T-shirt, we got a button here, or we've got snacks. If you register, then we will give you something. You cannot do that. That's another thing that's a no-no. So it has to be open to everybody. So even if they don't register, if you have some swag or something that you're giving out, you've got to allow everybody to register. Okay.
I was real quick with that being said, if I'm going to be doing something like putting out a press release or like advertising it more broadly, does the Indian Bar Association want to be listed as a part of that or not? How do you want me to represent that?
It's up to you. I think we probably would. Again, I trust you. You know what you're doing. I just don't want to have somebody who's doing something they're not supposed to, which I don't think anybody would, but you just never know. So yes, absolutely. Let us know. We can say we're affiliated with you, or if you want. There are some tribal communities pretty close to there. Of course, in Anadarko, we've got about 3 or 4 tribes. But yeah, absolutely. And what I was about to say is we actually had channel, I think it was channel 25 came out to the clinic last time. So we got a pretty good little story on the news about the voter registration. I would share the link with you. I went to look for it, but it's not up anymore. It's so long ago. But that was good. And so we try to let people know. The other thing I didn't share with you is I am trying to use, I'm more comfortable with Facebook. You have an account for the Indian Bar Association. I made a group. Welcome to join the group. And basically, the idea behind it was anybody can go there and post information about, voter registration efforts. Okay, so I will share that. It's called the Our Vote Coalition. Let's see here. And Our Vote is kind of a moniker from Election Protection. So right now it's really for folks that are registering voters, or if you just want to post information about hey, I'm wanting to host a voter registration drive, or we're going to be at this location on this and such a day. I'll probably post what Mr. Wakaning just put up a little while ago. Here's something from the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes. And then I posted some of these voter registration state guides, so again, when people have questions, they can go here. And just like election protection, well, that was a webinar that went on. Just like election protection, okay. The National Voter Registration folks have a big resource guide. Let me just show you that. They've got posters, they've got little memes, they've got graphics and stuff. And so they're doing this countdown, you know, we're 10 days away. You can become a partner here. You can register to vote. You can check your voter registration. And they've got a map of all the partners. Actually, we are a partner. And then there are different resources. And if you go here, again, there's ideas about getting registered. They've got posters, stickers. They're supposed to send us some stickers, and we haven't gotten them yet. You can request stickers. You can request these posters, and I think it's probably, well, I don't know, 10 days out. But so you can, you know, if you want to put up posters around, you can get these posters. Or you can just download it and print it out, which is probably the better thing to do, because I don't know if it'll show up in time. But so that way, here's your local info, and you can just fill that out. You can plaster these all over the place. And then it's got a QR code on it, so you can register to vote. Here's another QR code. And so that's just a little bit of, you know, so you're not having to recreate the wheel here. You're able to access these little graphics. And then they have them in different languages. They've actually got a whole bunch of memes and other stuff if you want to start posting memes, or they have stickers that you can put out there. And so if you go to there, it'll probably take you to the state website. So anyway, that's just another resource. You can actually go in, and here's a template which you can, again, you can just type on there and put in your own information. So it looks professional and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a good resource. Hey, Palmer, where do you want to set up, or do you think you're going to have time?
I mean, I thought we were still planning on trying to hit the UIO down the street. What was your plan?
Which one?
The one that you were at before, and I guess that would be 2020.
You mean in the evening?
Oh no, I was thinking like I thought we were doing in the morning. Like I was thinking 8 to 12 or something like that.
At UCO?
No, the UIO, the healthcare clinic down the street.
Oh, you mean the Indian Health Service?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I need to make a phone call over there. So that sounds, I think that would be good. Again, I got, I think 50 people registered. I was like really excited about that. Okay, so I'll reach out to Robin and see if we can set up over there. Okay, Mr. Saldana or Mr. Cotter. Okay, so he said they're going to get with the president of the Wichita Tribe. Let me grab that info before we're done. And yeah, because we set up over at I think this was in 2016. We set up over at the Iscani building. That's the Wichita's, isn't it? I think so. Over by the Walmart. And somebody with the Wichita Tribe let us set up over there. And so that was kind of a central location, which I thought was good because you know, it's right by the Walmart. Can you check on that and see if somebody might be able to set up there and maybe get back with me? Let me give you my contact information. Of course, you can reply the email to the Oklahoma Indian Bar Association, but my contact is 405-420-9912. Okay, and Mr. Saldana? Okay, you're with the Wichitas also. Okay. Okay, good deal. Yeah, if you all could check on that, maybe get back with us. You know, again, having somebody in Anadarko would be good. I know the Cheyenne Arapahoes have it covered. We got some people on the eastern side of the state. They're going to be signing in tomorrow, so we're almost about at an hour. Any last minute questions? What I would do is once you figure out when you can do it in your time, and I just suggested 9 to 5. Doesn't, you know, doesn't have to be that entire time. That's a long time. Depends on how many people you have who are going to be helping you out. Now I know that UINO, United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, is going to be having some events, and let me see if I can look for the, just so I can share with you the Rock the Native Vote event. There's a Facebook link, and I'll put that back on that Our Vote Coalition. Let's see here. Okay, so and again, this is on National Voter Registration Day. Out by the Ferris wheel, 6 to 9 p.m. Free music, food, and voter registration. I think we'll probably have a table set up there, unless they already have a table set up. I mean, there's, you know, I don't know if we need to have 2 tables set up, but ideally, I'd like to have a table for the Indian Bar Association. But everybody, you know, who wanted to, you know, come out and hang out with us for this free concert, that would be good. Okay, so let me play this here, and we'll end on this. I'm sure you've seen Reservation Dogs. Maybe not. It's a series on Hulu. Okay.
Hi, let
me see if I can get the audio to work. Okay, so this is their latest little I don't know what you call it, public service announcement that Lane Factor did.
Hi, I'm Lane Factor. I play Choosing Reservation Dogs. Oklahoma is second in the nation with the highest population of voting age Native Americans, and it's important that our voices are heard. On November 8th, make sure to grab your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, and get out there. Let's do this.
Okay, now that's not the most recent one. That's the old one. Yeah, because that's not November 8th. Yep, so that's from October 2022. Okay, so they need to update that. They're posting old stuff, unless that's a really old. I guess it is. Wow. He did a new one, which is actually pretty good. This is another group I'm in, Norman Native News. If I could find. And again, we're just reposting this on Facebook just to get people to think about it. If I could find it. Then there's people posting so much stuff on. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me see. Could you hear him?
School.
Okay, here we go. This one is directed towards students.
What's up? If you're like me, you're probably about to step out on your own. School, work, wherever. But before you go, let's talk about something important. Absentee ballots. Yep, I said it. Voting isn't just for the adults who stay home all the time. You have a voice, and that matters. especially in this election year. Whether you're out of state or even just a few hours away, you need to make sure your vote is counted. But don't worry, it's super easy. Just head to OK Voter Portal to request one. You'll need an Oklahoma State driver's license. If you are registered to vote, you can do that at the portal too. RockTheNativeVote.com is here for us. Hit them up if you have any questions. You're going to do great things this semester. And with your absentee ballot, you'll do great things with your future too. Let your voice be heard and sign up today.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
what,
that's great for me.
oh, I'll send you the link. How's that? Now the other thing that's a little tricky here, and I don't know how, and I think I spoke with, I can't remember the gentleman's name, the young guy, 20-year-old, you said it's down at USAO.
Ryan Moses.
Yes. A lot of students, and I don't know how you deal with this. A lot of students, let's say they're going to USAO, they're from Chickasha, but they maybe they're from Tulsa. Okay. So their driver's license is going to say Tulsa. So it would seem to me they could either request an absentee ballot be mailed to them from Tulsa County, right, to their if they're living in Chickasha. Do they have dorms there at USAO?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Or you could, and I would think most students don't do this, change their address to be Chickasha, and then use the new driver's license as the basis for their voter ID. Now, from what I've heard is because of the way the IDs are set up, let's say they didn't want to change their photo ID and they just registered to vote with the Chickasha address, then they could take their voter registration card and use that to vote with. What have you all done? Or do you know if like Grady County is going to want a photo ID?
I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to stop into the Grady County Election Board early next week and try and pick up some of these forms and also get a sense from them of what they're expecting to happen.
Okay. I didn't mention it, but the tricky thing about the absentee ballots is they have to be notarized. And I think we might have talked about this. When you notarize an absentee ballot, it has to be notarized by a notary who has not notarized more than 20 ballots. There's a limit. So if you're number 21 and you go to, John Doe notary, Jane Doe notary, and you're number 21, then your ballot now may not get counted. So what's the fix for that? The fix is to find out, make sure, they haven't notarized 20 ballots when you get the notary to do it, or that notary would have to request a waiver from every county of wherever they're notarizing ballots. So if you got a notary there in Grady County at USAO, and then you've got somebody coming in with a Caddo County ballot, they would have to have a waiver from Caddo County, not just where they're the notary. The other probably better thing to do is to send them to a notary that is part of an open business. Let me stop sharing this. That is part of an open business, because I think the law is, I'm looking it up. If they're open, I think it's like during regular business hours, like a bank, there's a notary there all the time. That 20 ballot rule doesn't apply.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, a lot of people don't know about that. That's another little tricky thing that will, bite you. Let me, okay, I'm looking it up right now. Okay. All right. This is free notary services. So if we were looking down in
Grady.
Grady, right? So Grady County, there's a couple banks, Liberty, Great Plains, Sooner State. There's about six, oh, it's quite a few banks. Okay. Okay, I'm not finding where that 20 ballot limit is on there. Yeah, see, here it is.
Wow, interesting.
Isn't that tricky? And I heard down in Caddo County, a bunch of ballots got thrown out because of notary issues. And I don't know, because my sister-in-law told me that. Her ballot got thrown out. Her mother's ballot got thrown out because they had a problem with the notary down there. Okay, and so, all right, so the law is still, so this is what I was talking about. The limit of 20 ballots does not apply place of business, open to the general public. So the banks, it's not gonna apply to. But a notary can request permission from a county election board to notarize more than 20 absentee ballots in a single election. Yeah, must a notary possess a waiver for each county? Oh, wait a minute.
Mhm.
20 signature notarization applies statewide. To the extent the notary public may exceed, he must have a waiver from the county election board in any county for any election. So, yeah, you got to go to every single county. Now, what if they got one for the last election in 2022? Well, that's not going to count. How long does a notary remain valid? Any waiver is valid for the election, only that election.
So I have to start all over again.
There's all these things in Oklahoma law that are tricky. Does a political party headquarters campaign cause a place of business? That's new. Yeah, I would doubt that. Can drive-through notarization services be offered? So you're going to have a notary with all these waivers. Can a notary public request an absentee ballot on behalf of other persons or submit? Okay, remember I was talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
Voted on behalf of, you cannot do that. It's a felony. So yeah, it's tricky. Now, I always request an absentee ballot because, maybe I'm sick on election day, so what I do is I have either option. Now, if I go to vote and they already know I've got an absentee ballot, I have to sign an affidavit saying I'm not going to turn it in other words, or I haven't turned it in, because they will scan it. They'll scan the absentee ballot and they will scan my vote. And if they see I voted twice, of course, that's a crime. So anyway, yeah, it's tricky. So that, yeah, the absentee ballot's a way to deal with students, but then you've got to have
The notary issue resolved.
tricky. Anyhow, well,
This has been super informative. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Well, we're going to do this again tomorrow. And then the day before election, registration day, which would be the 16th, we're going to do it again from noon till same thing we did today. So if you've recruited some folks that want to help out, then, definitely let them know.